It's the 10-year reunion, and the parking lot tells the whole story before anyone says a word. Leased SUVs lined up like trophies. A convertible somebody is clearly still paying off. A truck so big, it needs 2 spaces and a cosigner. And parked at the far end, unbothered, dusty, a plain sedan with 190,000 miles that you paid off so long ago you've forgotten what a car payment even feels like. Cole finds you first, the way Cole always does. Keys to something new spinning on one finger. He looks past your shoulder at your car. He laughs the old laugh, the one from freshman year. "Man," he says, warm and cruel at once. "You're still driving that thing?" And you smile. Because Cole doesn't know yet that his SUV isn't his. The bank's is. Yours is the only free car in the entire lot. Look, this isn't a story about a cheap car. It's about 5 moments you almost gave it up, and everyone who watched you refuse. So here's the deal. 5 temptations across 10 years. 5 people who each, in their own way, made you feel like the last one still driving the old thing. And 1 slot in your budget, the exact size of a car payment, that you left empty on purpose. By the end, you'll know what grew in that empty seat, and what it cost the people who filled theirs. Let's start with the first time you almost caved. The mechanism, first. When you finance a car, you're not buying a car. You're renting a feeling, on a schedule that's built to never quite end. A new car sheds about 1/5 of its value in year 1, and more than half within 5, roughly, depending on what you buy. So the person who upgrades every couple of years keeps rebuying that steep front end, again and again, and never once reaches the long, flat stretch where the thing is paid off and costs almost nothing. Here's the reframe that runs under this entire story. A car is the one thing you'll ever buy that's built to make you buy it again. Every single person in that reunion lot was on their 3rd or 4th. You were still on your 1st. So you leave 1 chair open in your budget, right where the payment sits, and you never let anyone fill it. Now watch what quietly takes the seat. Temptation 1, Cole, and the wedding, year 2. The sedan is 2 years old to you, paid off, and it has never once embarrassed you until this exact week. There's a wedding, a nice one, the kind with valet parking. And Cole texts you a photo of his brand new leased SUV, with 3 exclamation points. "Told you," he writes. "Manifested it." You stare at it longer than you'd admit. That Thursday, after work, you don't go home. You drive to a dealership, just to look, you tell yourself. A salesman named Rick walks you to a gleaming sedan, opens the door like it's a gift, and lets you sit. It smells incredible. It's quiet inside in a way your car hasn't been in years. He slides a slip of paper across the dash with a monthly number smaller than your phone bill, and for about 90 seconds you are gone, already parking it at that reception, already watching people not do math on you. Here's what nobody tells you in that seat. The pull isn't the car. It's the fear that people will quietly calculate you in a parking lot and come up short. Cole feeds on that fear, because he lives on it too. His SUV isn't a car, it's a costume. And the loudest driveway on the street usually belongs to the most frightened person on it. You hand Rick the paperback. You drive home in the old sedan with the windows down, and the next morning you do the boring thing instead. You set an automatic transfer, the size of the payment you didn't take, into a plain, broad market fund. You name it nothing. You tell no one, least of all Cole. You kept the chair open. Temptation 2. Denise and the raise. Year 4. You get the promotion. Real money now. More than you've ever made. And this time the upgrade doesn't feel like temptation at all. It feels like a reward you earned. A door you're allowed to walk through. So here's what actually happens when the money goes up. Nothing, at first. Then the apartment gets a little nicer. The groceries a little fancier. And 6 months later, the raise is simply gone. Not spent, exactly. Absorbed into a slightly bigger version of the same life. A lifestyle expands to fill whatever income you pour into it, the way water fills any shape you give it. Cole, meanwhile, has upgraded again, and over lunch he tells you the new lease is basically an investment. It is not an investment. You almost envy the certainty in his voice. And then there's Denise. She's 56, 3 desks over, quiet, and she drives a dented old wagon the whole office has clearly decided to pity. One rainy morning you pull in beside her, both of you in your ancient cars, and she catches your eye and gives you a small nod. Not sympathy, recognition. Later, at the coffee machine, she says just one thing, almost to herself. People think we can't afford new ones. She smiles into her cup. My house is paid off. Let them think it, and something settles in you that day. Something that had been shaky since the dealership. You don't need the office to be right. You just need the math to be. So you raise the transfer instead of the car. You kept the chair open. You won't feel the difference yet. You will. Temptation 3. Marisol and the noise. Year 6. You've been with Marisol for 2 years, and you love her. And this is the year the old car stops being charming to her. It starts on a highway, a Sunday night. A grind under the hood that smooths out but leaves your heart in your throat for 3 exits. The repair is $400, and Marisol, who has never once pushed before, pushes now, and she does it gently, out of love, which is exactly what makes it impossible to argue with. It's not about looking good, she says, quiet in the passenger seat. It's about safety, about moving forward. I don't want to be the couple that's always fixing the old thing. Here's the quiet joke buried in that word, safety. The upgrade she's describing comes with a payment far more dangerous to your life than any noise the car has ever made. A stretched loan has ended more households than a check engine light ever has. So you get the car inspected, properly, by a mechanic with nothing to sell you. It needs the repair, not the replacement. Good frame, many years left. You pay the $400, you keep the chair open. But Marisol goes quiet in a way that lasts past that night. She never wanted a car. She wanted forward motion, and to her, the sedan had become a symbol of a man content to stand still. 6 months later, she leaves. She's kind about it, which is worse. You're just so settled, she says, like it's the saddest word she owns. And you sit alone in the paid-off car in the driveway for a long time that night, engine off. And for the first time, the open chair doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like the price of it. You almost drive to the dealership right then, just to feel like you're moving. You don't. You keep it open. Barely. Temptation 4. Theo and the mirror. Year 8. Life gets bigger. A better title. More weight on your shoulders. And a young new hire named Theo, who follows Cole online and shows up one Monday in a leased coupe he cannot remotely afford. He parks it proudly next to your dusty sedan and gives you the exact look you used to get from Cole in that reunion lot. No offense, he says, grinning, but how do you not want something nicer than that? And here comes the 4th temptation, the slyest one of all, because it wears the mask of duty. There's a voice now that says, a serious man, a grown man, a man people report to, drives the grown-up car. Not for status, for dignity. And I'll be honest with you, this is the one that nearly gets me every time I watch someone stand in it. You don't buy dignity, you rehearse it, in 1,000 small choices no one ever claps for. Most people don't upgrade for their family or their title. They upgrade so the world will read them as someone who's arrived. That's not dignity. That's a bill dressed as dignity. A few weeks later, Theo's coupe gets quietly repossessed from the office lot on a Wednesday, in daylight, in front of everyone. He calls in sick the next day. When he comes back, you don't say a word about it. You just find a moment by his desk and say, "Ask me again in 10 years." You keep the chair open. The transfer you named nothing has been running 8 years now. You almost never look at it. The not looking is the entire skill. Temptation 5. The Reckoning. Year 10, and the pieces land close together. The car finally earns its retirement, honestly, at 190-some thousand miles. Not a crisis, just time. The way a season turns and you feel it before the calendar says so. Then there's the second reunion, and this time the parking lot tells a different story. Cole is there, but Cole is driving a plain used sedan now, one that looks a lot like the car he mocked 10 years ago. The SUVs are gone. The certainty in his voice is gone with them. He doesn't laugh at your car this time. He stands next to it in the lot for a second, looks at the odometer through the window, and says, very quietly, "You knew something I didn't." He doesn't ask you for anything. He was frightened for 10 years and paid full price for the privilege, and the bill finally came due. You buy him a drink inside. You don't gloat. There is nothing to gloat about. And Marisol messages, out of nowhere. Word travels, even the quiet kind. And she heard you're doing well now. She's warm. She's curious. She wonders if you'd like to catch up. And you sit with that for a while. Because here's the gentle, brutal twist of it. The very thing she left. The settledness, the standing still, the boring open chair, is the thing that built the life she's now curious about. You don't feel triumphant reading it. You feel something quieter and harder to name. You bought a kind of steadiness some people can only recognize from the outside, once it's already too late to have wanted it in themselves. The math. So let's finally open the chair and count the seat. Take the payment you never made, a modest $540 a month. 10 years of not handing that to a lender is roughly $65,000 of your own money that simply stayed on your side of the table. But it didn't sit still. Pointed into a broad fund and left alone. At the kind of average the market has handed out across long stretches, that stream tends to grow into six figures over a decade. Roughly. In a decent decade, never in a straight line, and you had to sit through the ugly years without flinching. But you did. And now you buy your next car in cash, from the chair, and keep right on filling it. No showroom, no new car smell, no applause. Just a quiet number that grew in a seat nobody knew you'd left empty. What the chair actually was. None of it was ever really about the car. And if I'm straight with you, it was never really about the money either. What you bought, across those 5 temptations, was the ability to not be afraid, to hear bad news and not count how many payments you are from the edge, to watch Cole flex and Marisol leave and Theo idolize the wrong man, and stay steady through all of it. Wealth is quiet. That's the only reason no one ever hears it coming. The car was only ever the receipt. And one ordinary morning, a decade in, you'll notice there's no payment leaving your account, and there never will be again, and it lands all at once. How much quiet you managed to buy with a car that nobody once complimented. Somewhere right now, someone is sitting in a parked car at night. Their Cole just posted something. Their Marisol just said the word settled like an insult. Their Theo just parked something shiny they'll be crying over by spring. The car they're in runs fine. It got them here. It'll get them home. But the payment looks so small on the screen, and the button is right there. Here's what that person doesn't know yet. They're not behind. They're one open chair away from the quietest raise they'll ever get, and it starts the second they close the tab. You're one of 2 people watching this. The one who fills that seat with a payment to impress people who are frightened too, and the one who leaves it open and lets 10 quiet years put something real in it. The listing doesn't decide which one you are. You do, tonight. So do the one small thing. If your car is paid off, open your account, set up a transfer for the day a payment would leave, name it nothing, and forget it exists. Leave the chair open. Nobody will clap. That's exactly how you'll know it's working. And if this slower, quieter way of thinking about money feels like yours, stay a while. There's a whole shelf of these, and I'll keep them warm.